Hello and welcome back to Scholars Path Africa, a platform where we talk about the academic journeys of different African scholars. And I'm your host today, Latifa, joined by my co-hosts.
Imi, and I'm so happy to be here.
Rashida here again, and we are very excited to have you for this episode.
Today is a very relatable topic, which is navigating cultural differences as a foreign student. All my co-hosts had their studies from abroad, and I believe they have personal stories to tell, the experiences, the differences they found from communication, way of life, and entirely how Algeria was. Our listeners would really love to listen to your stories and how you navigated them.
I think for me, what I actually remember is like that's the first time you realize, oh, I am actually black. Because in your country, especially sub-Saharan African countries, everybody's black. Everyone is the same complexion as you are. You're all African. Nobody's even having any doubts there. But now when I went to Algeria, that's the first time I actually realized, okay, I am black. Because people talk about like that racism and everything, and you're thinking, oh, this is another African country, so we don't really have to deal with that. Or you've watched the apartheid, people who have studied South African history. You're just thinking, okay, that's a Black American problem. Things we watch on that TV, and then to actually be in that position and be facing that kind of situation for me was a total culture shock. But it was the one time you had to remember, like, now you have to learn to be very confident in who you are and make peace with certain facts. It's the time I had to make peace with the fact that, okay, yes, I am black. Yes, I am African. So if you're coming at me, you need to tell me something I don't already know about myself, because those are facts that I already know. So for me, that was one culture shock, because for all my life, you've lived very, very sheltered, people who are like you. You don't really have anyone coming at you, a different skin tone. So this time you are a minority. So for me, it was quite a culture shock.
And you know how in Uganda, in Uganda, people here are quite expressive.
Yeah.
And when we got into Algeria, people there, they're very reserved. You might feel like it's a rejection, but
Yeah.
later you learn, oh, this is their way of life.
We are loud in the way we talk. We are loud in the way we laugh when we meet each other. Then you'd be in the streets and you've met your friends and you're hugging and you're laughing loudly. Then all of a sudden everyone is looking at you like it's very weird. And then you keep asking yourself, did I do something badly?
It was so surprising that you could only get to have a normal conversation with those people after 2 years. You can imagine. And all that time it's been just, hi, how are you? But sitting there and have a normal conversations like normal people do, it took time. I think that time, people have had started getting used to us. But first year, second year, things were really like...
Yeah, difficult.
Yeah.
People don't want to sit close to you in the class.
they
People
don't.
don't want to do work with you. You walk into class and someone thinks you're not smart enough. So it was quite a shock, but you learn with time,
Yeah.
and you learn to get along with people.
It reminds me of a time I was in the bus and someone asked me, do you guys have such roads in Uganda? Is Uganda part of Africa? Like those questions, First of all, I don't know whether they're not informed,
No,
or
they
have that
don't.
mentality that we're not in Africa. You see how they call us Africans.
Are you African?
Yes.
They don't
So
believe they're in Africa.
they're quite inquisitive from a place of not being informed. I think they do not do more research about other African countries, which
Oh,
They do not... Their
Study.
history. Yeah, study the
The
history.
geography
Exactly.
and history. But also, I think also the other problem was the fact that, a lot of people who go to Algeria, you're either a diplomat or a student or a football player. And then there are very, very few football players from sub-Saharan Africa that play in their league.
So they don't
So
get
a lot
to
of
see
people
a
you
lot
meet
of
is a
black
student.
people.
Is a student. And now imagine someone has studied all the way from kindergarten to their secondary school, and they have never met someone that's black, or someone from sub-Saharan Africa, someone that is not Algerian. The first time they're meeting this person is at the university. So I think it also comes in from everyone from a place of lack of knowledge. You don't know anything about this person, and sometimes you've heard also the prejudices that you've read on the internet and everything. So it does play in a lot. I just think if it was more tourists who are coming in and they're meeting a lot of foreigners, it would be a little bit different.
let's talk about in class the academic expectations those people had for us. What were they like? Those people, did they expect you to be more bright, more damp? How were they?
I don't know what expectations they had for us, but the culture shock that I got in class was about the language. I mean, we had a whole full year of French,
Yes.
thinking that lessons are going to be conducted in French. And to only reach in class, professors are using Arabic throughout. And it was so surprising that those people were actually allowed to even answer in Arabic. Yeah, so that was quite. You didn't know, like, we had to take time now to adjust, to get used to the way professors teach. It
For
wasn't
me,
quite
I
easy.
think
Yeah.
that the biggest culture shock is the fact that we came from, and we most of us come from English speaking nations, and then you have to learn French that whole year. But then you realize the French that you learn is basically conversational French.
Yeah,
It's not the French that is scientific or technical kind of French. So you walk into the classroom, the teacher is teaching, and you do not understand a thing. All your classmates look at you like, this is definitely going to be the last person.
But
when
at
they're
least
giving
if
us
that prof was teaching in French would be good.
even
And
in
it
French,
becomes worse
even in
if
French,
they
there are
add
days
in
you would
Arabic.
I had
Yeah.
teachers that did French, but you still wouldn't listen. So everyone just expected, like, oh, she's definitely going to be the last in class. I mean, she doesn't understand French, only knows
You
English.
see, like the same way someone here speaks English and you're like, but their English is very fast, and then someone speaks slowly and you understand very well. So it's the same case with French. Someone speaks good French but it's very fast, or that native French, something like that, and you do not understand, but is speaking French.
Yeah.
And then there are those professors who are like, oh, this professor is speaking good
Yeah,
French.
there
I
are some
can
professors
understand
who really
throughout
had
their
some
lecture.
good French, was
Good
so well
French.
articulated that you literally hear every
My
word.
TD
Yeah,
chemistry teacher, you could hear her French, even if you didn't really need to know a lot. Like that way she spoke her French, you would understand what she's saying.
Yeah, but it was quite a hassle for the
It was.
start, first year, second year. But at least by the
I
time
think
you
after
go to
the
third
second,
year,
after your second year, that's
after
when
your
it's like,
second year,
okay.
you're good to go. Yeah.
In class, I remember these kids used to answer every question. As blacks, you just see it and you're like, oh, so they assume you're dumb, you
You're
do not
dumb, you do
understand.
not
So
know.
every question which comes up, they answer. Then at the end of the day, when you write exams, you come on top and they're like,
She actually knows. Then
She
you start
actually
getting
knows.
friends. Now people start to send you their homework to proofread it. Before there is not even mind you, because there's no, oh, she's going to be the last one in class. Now when the results come out and you've done very well in the exam, before they do their homeworks the night before, everyone is sending you, is this correct? Is this how you did it? Did you get this solution? Now everyone wants to be in your discussion group. Now people want to do TPs with you, practicals with you. It's just very, very hilarious.
you guys, moving on to the food. That was another shock to me. My entire time in Algeria, I don't think I had bread as food. Since day one,
You
since
didn't
day
eat
one,
bread?
I didn't. Since day
Really?
one, I was like,
As
bread?
food?
I'm going
Did you-
to be eating bread with beans. That is something which never.
Okay, now this is new. You never had bread for
I never
food.
had bread in Algeria. The
Wow.
entire time I was in that country.
Really? You had
Yes.
it for tea?
I would
You used
rather-
to have it for tea, but not food, eh?
Yeah, for tea, but
Wow.
not as food, like bread and sauce.
Yes.
I never had such a meal.
At least I ate bread, I think, in the first year. That was the French year. I had bread, but when I got to my first year, I say to myself, no bread anymore. I used even not to take it for tea. Yeah, I had enough of the bread.
I think personally it's like I don't really have like a very complicated like stomach, or I'm picky with food, but not very, very picky, I would say. So I mean, I think the thing I'd thought to myself is like I would not eat olives. And my first time they put them in salad, and then even polony, I'd pick it out of my food. Always, I'd pick it out of my salad. But by the time we left Algeria, I'm the person who would go to the market to buy olives myself during the holidays. I would go to the market and tell the man I want olives. But I was quite adventurous with the food for me personally. I think I tried a lot of Algerian meals. Then I would just decide like, okay, this works for me. Now this one, I'm sorry, this is not.
Anyway,
enough.
yeah,
I was quite
Algerian
adventurous
food
with the
needed
food.
like you giving it time, like
True.
try with the little portion, like with time. We
The
got
second
used
time,
because it's the
couscous,
same.
because
Yeah,
I didn't like.
couscous.
And also, it depends. Because when we were in Buduwao, I did not like the way they used to cook couscous.
Yeah,
Then I lived to when we moved to Blida, they used to cook couscous,
Yeah, their
well,
couscous
and I
was
used
really
to eat
nice.
couscous well. So sometimes it also depends on how the person introducing you to the food has cooked it.
But it still left us eating spaghetti and rice almost
No, you
every
see,
day.
Every
I
day.
think with time, after you're tired of eating resto food because you do not want the way it is cooked, you find ways of cooking Algerian meals. You go buy your couscous and learn how to prepare it.
Yeah.
You go get olives and learn how they are prepared, like in a way that is delicious to you. Yes. So it was
A lot of
But it was
adjusting.
also not easy to really prepare their food. For example, couscous. I remember I tried preparing couscous. It tasted terrible. I
It
think
will
it was
not taste
terrible.
the same the way they make
Yeah,
it.
it doesn't taste the same. And I also tried like couscous that was prepared by my friend. Okay, for it kind of tasted bitter, but still not the real taste as the way it tasted as the Algerians prepare it. Yeah, so their food and rishta, I never tried to really prepare rishta, but it was also nice. Yeah.
I think that's when you start to resort to cooking. And
Yep.
then cooking, you're eating spaghetti and rice on a daily because that is what is available. And maybe Irish potatoes. So you're going to be eating Irish potatoes, boiling them, eating
But
them
the
with
Irish
lentils,
potatoes were also not good for food. I think they're
making
good
fries.
for fries. Yeah.
Yes.
I think by the time I left Algeria, rishta, olives, and couscous were my favorite.
Yeah.
But
True.
by the
Me
time
too.
I went, I used to eat all of them, like for the first year. But the time I left, there were my matoke here.
Couscous, definitely for me, and olives. And their salad. Oh my God, their salad.
Guys, let's talk about the bureaucracy.
Give me
Paperwork.
that
Paperwork.
I mean, do you know you're just working to get, for example, a residence permit, but you have to enter like 10 offices just to get that card. Like there's a lot of paperwork. I don't know why. Why is it so like that?
There's so many papers. Photocopy this, I need a photocopy of that. And sometimes I've given you these things this year. We have to bring back again those same things the very next year, the next year and the next. It's just too much paperwork.
Like you have to get like 7 stamps on one single document. You have to, and these people actually are very slow at their paperwork. Okay, they are very slow in their offices that you have to work on something for such a long time because every time you go there, it's either not ready or the person is on a weekend or the person is on leave. Yet you have to get this paper to another office and to another office. It will take time. It was so not real good.
And the most shocking thing, you see how in Uganda you can come and get that document on the same day?
Yeah,
That thing can never happen in Algeria. You have to wait for 3 days, a week, or maybe in 2 days you get your document. You cannot be assured that I'm going to get that document on that very same day.
The long lunch
And
hours.
it's also how they respect their working time.
The long lunch
If it's
hours was
lunchtime-
my issue. The fact that from 12 to 2 p.m., nobody's in the office.
And trust me, even if you enter that office when it's 1 minute to lunchtime,
They're
you'll
not
have
going
to wait
work
for
on
you 2 hours till when she comes
Till
back
2
in
p.m.
office.
to
Yeah.
come back and
There's
work on
nothing
you.
like, okay, let me
For
work on you
someone that's
quick
going
and
to
then go
leave
for
at
lunch.
4 p.m.
But you guys, I think that is fine. It's time management.
Okay, yeah.
It's fine.
It teaches how to manage time. Because, even if I go to that office and it's 1 minute to lunchtime, I'm not going to be worked on.
Exactly.
It kind of teaches you some discipline. Yeah, it's real good, yeah.
And talking about dating, those people who want to date in Algeria, there is nothing like PDA, which is public display of affection. You cannot. Okay,
Hold
you
hands.
can.
You can't hold hands. I mean, you're not even allowed. Of course, some people used to do it.
But everyone would be, the locals would be looking at you like, what's wrong with
Yes.
this girl?
But also, my friends used to tell me that you're not supposed to hold hands. Yeah, unless you people are married. If you don't have that ring on the finger, no, please. Yeah.
You know how you be we would be moving with a friend, and someone approaches you. Are you married? Are you two married? And you're like,
It is so bad to the extent that, when we were almost coming back, like our 2 guy friends that we went to the university with, so we were waiting for them to pick us to take us to the airport. And the gateman kept asking us, who are you waiting for? You're going to be late to the airport that the checking closes at this time. And we kept telling him, we are waiting for our friends to come. So when the boys came and then they're helping us with our luggage, I remember the gateman asked us like, are you going out with are you guys going out with those boys? And I'm saying like, no, they're just our friends. Like, they're just your friends. You are not going out. Like, you are not dating. That's the first time I was just like, so you mean a girl and a boy just cannot be friends? Every time a girl is someone, they are dating, they are going out, because anytime they would see you with a boy, it's like, are you going out with him?
I think there is no word such as friend in Algeria.
And
You're either married or you're just there.
Colleague.
yeah.
Colleagues, classmates.
But it was also like such a shock to them if you like at 23, those people, for a girl at 23 you should be married.
Yes.
And every time a person asks you, how old are you? You say your age. And then the next question is, are you married? And then you say no, like, huh?
You're
Why?
expired. Our
I
friends
mean,
used to tell us you're expired.
can you imagine? 20, you're
22?
really just, yeah,
They would say,
22.
you're 23, 24, you're not married, you are expired. And they would make jokes about it a lot of the time. But they would tell us
but
we're
to the
expired.
elder, it was like, what
What was that?
DBA in
Wait,
what
what
I
DBA?
think, why are you saying you're not married at that age? What's wrong? What's the problem with you?
Exactly. Because 22, you should be engaged. By the time people are finishing 23, they are getting married.
Yeah.
Therefore, you are telling them you're not engaged, you're not married.
You're
They'll
not
just tell
married.
us,
They're
hey, you're
"Ah,
expired.
something must be wrong." About the strict gender roles in public places. These people, men don't sit with ladies. Like, you enter cafeteria and ladies are on this side, men are on the other side. You enter a bus, men are seated the other side, ladies are seated the other side. And I think sometimes we used not to care. Like, you could just enter a bus and then you find a free space, you sit, and then you see everyone is giving you eyes. You're like, what wrong have I done?
Yes, because basically there was a man seated there, and all the women decided they didn't want to sit by close
you
to the
could be-
man, and they are standing.
Exactly.
Then for you, you're walking in, and you're like, "Excuse me," and then you sit, and everyone is looking at you. Everyone in the bus is looking at you like you just did something that's very, very weird.
Yeah, kumbe mna you're sitting in a place where you're not supposed to be seated.
be
I mean,
seated,
how
yeah.
do you sit with a man? How do those people survive?
You get used to it with time.
Yeah, actually, by the time we left, yeah, we were calm now. We knew what to do. Enter a bus. If you don't find free space, but there's free space and the man is there, you
Sit.
stand. No, you stand. Sometimes
I
you
used
could
to
stand.
sit. Yeah, I would
Yeah.
walk in and because there was
Okay, I
no
used to
way
sit.
I was standing if there was a free space.
But also, I think they also have reasons as to why those people do that.
True. The
Oh,
sexual
do you remember
harassment
that
is
sexual
too much.
harassment is too much.
It's too much.
Yeah, I think for that reason, I could also not want to sit with a man. Yes, I would really prefer sitting with a lady, or at least I rather stand up. Yeah,
rather-
You see
Understand.
how you be in those buses to Alger, like those long
Yeah.
journeys, and then you happen to sit with a guy.
Those were the
you
worst
just
guys.
see a note with the number wrote on it. Or you would see the guy writing his number down on his phone and showing it to you. You're like, I'm not interested in your contact. Why
Like,
are you
we've not
showing
even
me
had
your
a
contact?
conversation. It's
That
not
is
even
the
been
least.
high.
Worst case could be that guy trying to move his hands, like touching
Yeah, they
you
used to
in
move
the
hands.
bus.
In the bus. So I did understand why the women used not to like to sit with men.
yeah. They're not in their best behaviors. Those men, I should say, not all, but
Not
I
all,
mean,
yeah. It's,
You
it's
see,
you
a
don't want
problem.
to take risks. Yeah.
What came as shock at first, I think with time we try to adjust. With time we try to see how beautiful their culture is, how tasty their food is, and how French.
I think it's
How
at the beginning
communicating in
it's
French is
difficult,
also
but once you
beautiful.
navigate and you understand why certain things are done a certain way, you eventually start to like certain aspects of their culture, aspects of their country also, and you start to enjoy yourself also, and you start to enjoy the country.
Yeah, true.
So, ladies, how did you navigate the culture shocks in Algeria?
For example, if we start with the language, I mean that you really didn't have a choice but to learn the language somehow. Yeah, of course, we said earlier on that in class, however much you had a year of French, but then in class you could find some lectures are being like handled or taught in Arabic, depending on the professor, of course. Yeah, so that was quite a challenge. But then if you knew a little bit of French, you could get to read your work or find like a friend who you discuss with in French, so that when you go in class, you at least have an idea or a context of what
And
the
about
prof
the
is going to
language,
talk about.
those
Yeah,
kids, okay, those kids, I don't know if it's wrong referring to them as kids, but
No, yeah.
I'm used to it. those guys were interested in English, in
Yes,
learning
learning
English.
English.
So they made it quite easier for you to learn the French so that you could teach them the English.
But sometimes it was a disadvantage because most times they could say, Ime, don't use English because now I want to learn the. No, sorry, don't use French because now I want to learn the what? The English. Yeah, but I think for the language, you have to get someone like a friend who often uses that language or who speaks French. So that, because most times language you learn by speaking.
I
That
think
is real true.
Personally,
Yeah.
what helped me learn like spoken French is like when I got to my second year, the other French student that was in my specialty was from Benin. Now she didn't know English, but the one language we are both supposed to know was French.
French.
So that is how I learned French, because then she was constantly asking you questions, constantly having conversations with you. So that's how I was able to pick up a lot of like the speaking of French and even learning to listen during that period. But then also the other thing that helped for me was I decided to make francophone friends, because I remember our first year, especially the girls in the Muslim community, they would invite us to iftar and would not want to go. They would invite us to outings, would not want to go. They would invite us to the halaks, would not want to go to the halaks. But then I told myself, because the thing was, where am I going to listen to French? Why am I coming to a halak and you are going to do this religious
you're going to
discussions in
understand
French and I don't
nothing.
understand? But I told myself, okay, put yourself out there and try to learn. But even the person tried to spell that Ikram, and because she was Anglophone, but she spoke such good French, so she would invite us. Would say, okay, would go. So along the way, that's also how I was able to make friends with them and learn to speak French. And eventually, I started enjoying spending my time with them.
So the trick to learning a new language is find friends who use that language or who speak that language, and always engage in conversations. That's how you learn. Yeah.
I had local friends. I was friends with some old women. We used to have a darus. It's like a sitting every Friday. So every time I used to go to them, we were struggling to communicate. So I either had to understand Arabic or I had to just keep smiling through their conversations. So I was forced to learn to add, like, at least I could listen and reply a few words.
In
Yes.
Arabic?
In Arabic,
Yeah,
yes.
you learn.
Amazing.
Because we could spend like 3 hours, and in those 3 hours, you cannot be smiling through the entire conversations. Of course, you would feel left out. I had to learn the language.
I think also along the way, what I discovered was, the same fears we had on our end were exactly what they had. Because I had friends later on who later on, like in the year when they got comfortable around me, they would tell me, oh my God, I used to I would like to talk to you. Every time I used to see you, I would want to come and talk to you.
But
my only
language
problem
barrier.
is like, because I only know, I can't speak French and I don't Arabic, so I did not know how to talk to you. It's like, but I really like you and I really wanted you to be my friend. But that was after they gotten comfortable around me. So I realized, like, we used to be so scared and have our guards so high. You didn't want to be friends. You didn't want to sit around. And I'm like, okay, they also wanted to, but they just didn't know how to approach you.
You see in Uganda how we care about embogo, yeah?
Hey.
Those mistakes in English. Like someone speaks broken English. In Algeria, nobody cares as long as the person understands whatever
what
you're
you're
saying.
trying to say,
And
yeah.
I think that's a mentality we need to change here. It is not about the perfect English. It is about the message. Have you got the message? You see, Arabs, Chinese, Indians, those people, most of them do not know perfect English, but they can make a
and
sentence
as the saying
long as
goes-
you've got the message.
And as the saying goes, if you're afraid of making mistakes, then you're
You'll
not going
never
to
learn.
Yeah,
Hey,
you'll
it's also
never
the
learn.
first time, by the way, when I realized it's like we need to understand these are not our languages; they are foreign languages from a lot of things we picked up from our colonizers. So we do not get to stand and say, "Oh, they've spoken wrong English," or "They've made a mistake here." I realized, like, if you met the guys who are trying, the Algerians who are trying to learn English, they would make mistakes, but I would never laugh. And even in your conscience, it doesn't come like, "Oh, they've made a mistake." You're just like, "Oh, they are
And
trying
they're
to
so
learn."
confident.
And they're so confident in what they would say.
yeah,
Do
in
you
what
know
they're
how?
saying.
Do you know how funny it is laughing at a joke after the entire crowd has laughed and you were still processing it. Now after some minutes, you're like, "Oh, this was the joke," and now you're laughing because you did not understand at first.
Yeah.
Language barrier. That was such a shock, but right now,
Well, we navigated it somehow,
yeah.
and we came out.
And then also we need to understand is that the cultural differences sometimes is not necessarily between foreign students and the natives of that country. Because even among us, the foreign students, there are cultural differences. You come from different countries, different cultures, so it's totally different food. Sometimes your friends invite you and you're like, me, I don't eat that food. Did you see how they
They
cooked
cooked
it?
it.
I don't want to eat it. Did you see how they put this? What is that food they are eating?
Mind you, those people prepared it in the best way,
In the
In the
best way,
according
I
to
mean,
them.
yeah.
Yes. And they are thinking, oh, I remember when the girls from Palestine, was it Palestine or Yemen, called us for breakfast.
Palestine.
And they had spent their time making this
But their
breakfast.
breakfast was
They had
nice
made a
one.
lot of food. And we got there, we were like, what is this? Why are we eating olive oil with food? And with bread and tea? So try not to be very picky. When you're invited to events, go to those events and be very active in your foreign student communities. If there's a foreign student community, be a member, be active, go to their activities. They have trips, they have games, they have cultural days. Go to those events, participate in those events. You have your Muslim Students Association, go there. You have your Christian Students Association.
You go
Be an
there.
active member in those communities because they will help you make friends. They'll help you get along because all people from those communities, you're also from different walks of life and you're just being put together in the same association. So try and go to those associations, be a member and be an active member and participate in their events.
Yeah, of course, you can just start slowly.
Yes.
Yeah, you may you may begin by just attending, then with time you begin taking on activities like that. You begin participating.
The other time, if you could even just be a person that's coming to cheer for the football
Yeah,
matches when
exactly.
they do. Just come and be the person that's
But at
cheering
least
the foreign
make
students
sure you're
team.
not closing yourself in
Off,
the rooms
yes.
and living, like not going anywhere. Yeah.
And
you
with
have to
time,
be
if you
active.
can take up offices also in those on the executive offices in those associations,
like
be a
leadership.
president, treasurer, take up leadership in those associations because it helps you a lot.
Yeah.
Anything I didn't understand, I realized that when I asked questions, those people were very willing to explain anything. It could take away those assumptions we had instead of being like, oh, why are they doing it like this? Why are you cooking your food like this? Like you could just ask, and they were very willing to
Why did they
explain.
do that? Association? Why did they sing? Why did they dress like that? Then they would invite you to their engagement parties. You're like, what is this?
Yeah,
Where
I
are we
think
coming?
I think that takes us to not being judgmental.
Yeah,
like
do not be judgmental.
yeah, don't be. If you don't know why something is like that, ask before you say, no, that's not the better way of doing things,
That's the
or I
thing,
don't
like-
like that, or it's not good enough. Yeah.
As a
Unless-
foreign student, also the first thing you need to learn is you do not know better. Just because you
In
come
fact,
from a
you do not
certain
know a
place
lot of
doesn't
things.
make you the best person. Don't go there and start thinking, "Efe tuli baganda, tuli nempisa." There is no way you are
And they're
telling
also
me those things.
also looking at your things that like
Yeah, your culture.
why
They're
doing
thinking
it
this
like
is
that?
so
Why is
weird.
it
How
like
could
that?
you?
Exactly. Yeah.
So
So you
each
just have
of
to
you are
find
being
common
judgmental.
grounds. Yeah, exactly.
Be ready
Limit
to
your
learn
differences,
and
yeah.
unlearn the things you've known and certain things you're going to learn. So be ready to learn and unlearn.
Yeah. So moving on to paperwork, we earlier mentioned that there is a lot of paperwork that is being required for someone to do while you're in Algeria. And how you navigate this is one thing, you have to be patient. A lot of paperwork requires time, and for you to get through it, you have to be patient. And then the second thing is you have to learn the language, because these offices you're going to, as we said, they use French, and it's always easier for you, or it will be easy for someone to be able to know the language of communication, because you're going to take to these officials. And sometimes it's so frustrating if you're not understanding what they're telling you, or those people are not understanding what you're telling them. Yeah, so for things to be a little bit easier, you learn the language. And also you have to be organized. A lot of paperwork means a lot of papers or a lot of documents. And Algerians are very strict with their paperwork. You miss one document, you go back. And you're not going to keep on going forth and back, like looking for things. So you need to be organized. Put your documents in order so that if it requires to go to a given offices, you're ready for that office. If it requires you to be like in a certain office, you're also ready for that. Yeah.
When it comes to navigating like racism, a lot of the times I tell people, especially students from sub-Saharan African countries, you need to remember and be very proud of two things. Remember you are black and be very proud of being black. Remember you are African and be very proud of those two things. There's a thing one of my secondary school teachers used to tell me is like, when you know who you are, there's no way someone is going to come and make you feel less than. If you know you are short and someone comes and tells you you're short, I already know
I
I'm
already know
short.
I'm short.
Tell me something new.
New,
You understand? Like, so you're not going to start feel insecure about yourself.
Yeah,
So
true.
make peace with the fact that I am black, I am African, and be very, very proud of those two things. So that even if someone comes and they're acting funny or they're trying to make you feel less than because you're black, it's not something you've not had before. You're trying to tell me something I do not know about myself. Tell me something new. Because that is a fact. The fact is I am black. The fact is that I am African. So tell me something I don't know about myself. So that way you're not going to be feeling insecure. And regardless of how they act, it's not going to affect you or even how you feel about yourself. So that's the other thing you also need to remember is like sometimes it's even just not about you. So don't take things so deeply. You
Yeah,
walk
maybe
onto the street,
they're just seeing something new and they
yeah,
don't know how to
how
act
to act
around
around
it.
it.
Yeah.
So don't walk on the street and someone does something and then you suddenly have such a bad day. You're very traumatized the whole week, the whole semester. The reality is a lot of the time it's going to be happening every single day,
True.
every time you walk out on the street and on every single
People will
street
be calling you for no reason.
for no reason. So that's the sooner you make peace with that and you realize it has nothing to do with you, and just don't take it too personal.
And also learning, I think learning a few things to do, like when you find yourself in such a
Such
situation. For
situations.
example, being on streets, like men would be calling you, hey, or
Don't
for example,
turn, just keep
don't turn,
walking.
just
Sometimes
keep
they tell
walking.
you,
Yeah,
when
just
you're
keep
walking
a straight face,
and
like
walk.
yeah,
When
continue
you're on
your
the
ways.
street, act like you know where you are going. Be very focused. I am out here. I am going here. Do not turn for random call someone. It's called. You do
I
not.
think
Be very, very focused on where you're going.
Algeria taught me a thing. When I'm moving here in Kampala, I'm moving very fast and I'm always focused. Like
Focus.
I can literally bypass someone who knows me and I haven't seen them
You
because
just
that is how we move
you
in
just a
Algeria. You're
message on
moving
your
very
phone.
fast and focused on
Yeah,
where
nobody's
you're
going to have
going.
the time to call you, to cut call you, or say some random things because they look at you and they know she's going to do something. She's going
And
somewhere.
by the
She
way, if
doesn't
you
have
give them
time for this.
attention, my dear, hi.
That is where the problem starts.
Exactly.
So
That's where the
just do,
problem
if you've
starts.
got out, I need to go shopping here, go to do that. Do not turn, do not be. Someone has called you and
Also I think
responding to it.
copying a few things on how those people do their things, because as we said that regarding the gender roles that men used to sit on, like they don't sit with women. So there's no need of you forcing yourself to sit because
there,
like,
true.
like this is not my culture, you get. Yeah, sometimes it
It's
will
for your
helps
own
you.
good.
Yeah, you can also try to cope up with not, or being okay with not sitting with men. It's not real bad. There's nothing in sitting with them, or there's nothing in without sitting with them, you get. Yeah, so
Sometimes discomfort is part of growth.
yeah, part of growth,
part of
and just
growth.
be
Yeah.
able to add just a little
When you
bit.
go back to your country, you can do whatever
you can
you
do
want.
whatever
Yeah,
you want.
everyone.
Exactly.
And also, I think we need to tell our listeners is that a lot of the examples we were giving is about Algeria because that is where we went to school. But if for any foreign student, you can clearly relate because
True.
it's just not any different. So pick the lessons that we have shared today, the things that we have discussed, because it doesn't matter what country you go to. These are the same struggles for a lot of the foreign students. We've given our perspective, but it is genuinely the same things. Pick the way with the lessons we picked up, how we navigated these issues, and apply it regardless of where you are. These solutions will work for you.
Yeah, and in case you also find something else that maybe we've not mentioned here, you can try to find your way out of it. Like maybe try to talk to other people who you think might have or know about it. How did they navigate it? How did they do about it? And like that, life goes on. Or you can please DM us, send us your questions. We are also always ready to help you.
Culture adaptation is a process and not a one-time event. So allow yourself to adjust. Don't judge. Ask many questions as you want.
Be
Accept
flexible.
the discomfort and respect the place you're in. The norms, the culture, respect them. Yeah.
And then also try to be, like we have said, be very open to learning and unlearning because only then are you going to be very tolerant of people from different walks of life. Only then can you build these relationships with people from different walks of life. So be very open to learning and unlearning and do not be very judgmental. Do not walk in thinking, oh, I know it all. You do not. Just be open to learning and unlearning because I think that is the first step to navigating any cultural differences or people from different walks of life.
So being active in the community is also key. One, it helps you learn the language easily. And it also helps with culture adaptations and immersion. It helps you like to easily appreciate these cultural differences and also find like the common grounds to stay well in this community. It also gives your family, friends, and all this, like you acquire social support. Yeah.
As we've come to the end of today's episodes, culture differences can be challenging, especially in the beginning, but they are also one of the most powerful parts of the international students' experience. They stretch, they teach us empathy, and prepare us for the global world. Thank you so much for tuning in to Scholars Path Africa. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please follow us on our social media platforms, subscribe to our podcast, and share this episode with a friend, especially someone studying away from home. If you have your questions, you can send them to us. We shall answer them in our next episode or on our social media platforms. Until next time, bye.